Beloved Atman, blessed sadhaks, upon the path of spiritual discipline, devotees of the Lord, seeking souls aspiring for knowledge that enlightens and wisdom that liberates. Welcome to this afternoon session of our second day of this 4 days spiritual retreat. Thanks to the Yoga Sadhana Mandir. And we take further our consideration of this mysterious something called the mind, whose presence, whose existence we infer because of its functioning, because we experience its functioning in various ways beyond our control. When anger manifests, it upsets the body, but we know it does not originate in the body. Something else unseen within creates a wave, and it has the effect of making your blood pressure to go up, your heart to palpitate, your breath to change. All these things, manifestations occur in the body. Okay? And for the beholder, he sees that your eyes can become red, or you can flush, and your voice can start trembling. You are in a temper, sometimes even the timbre of the voice changes. You don't talk in your normal level, voice. These manifestations make us infer there is some mechanism within. When that mechanism starts working in particular ways, different states begin to overcome the body. You all know the sinking feeling when you have to go for an interview or an examination. And suddenly from where it comes, but you are able to feel it. So the origin is something. And as I said, the most classical description of all the manifestations, which would be a marvel of a modern researcher, psychological researcher, you find in the state of Arjuna. Okay? And he was in extreme distress. And it is that state into which he falls that occasions the wonderful discourse, the wisdom teachings of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And inasmuch as it is this distress that throws him into the arms of the teacher at his feet, and on occasions this wisdom teaching brings him ultimately into a state of yoga. They call it Arjuna Vishadha Yoga, the yoga of Arjuna's despondency, which made him come to God, take shelter at his feet. Shishyasteham shadimam swam prapannam, please advise me, I have thrown myself at your feet. Regard me as a disciple, advise me, guide me. So we infer the existence of the mind from its functions, and therefore they have gone upon a great, deep, in-depth exploration of mind and its behavior, its functions, analyzed it thoroughly, and came up with wonderful insights which we have now as the science of yoga, yogic manovignan, knowledge of mind from the light, in the light of the science of yoga, or from the angle of the science of yoga. And we saw how this very knowledge about its nature, its functions, its behavior, they themselves become to us tools by which we may try to bring it under our control. We know that a prominent manifestation of mind function is the form of desire. And we know these desires are upon different levels. And the normal, ordinary level of desiring is upon the body level. Body desires for comfort. It does not want discomfort. It avoids discomfort, tries to make things comfortable. If it is a little chill, we cover ourselves, make warm. If it is a little hot, we want to make ourselves cool. We start frying ourselves, open the window, like that, sip a cool drink. And if a posture is uncomfortable, we change the posture. And in the same way, the mind also wants certain satisfactions for the body. So we have a coffee break. Even the most sophisticated international conference, the conference people want a coffee break. And if a cookie also comes into the coffee break, they are not averse to it. In this way, it likes to have desire fulfillment on the level of body in the form of sense satisfaction. And incense, they also saw not only does it want pleasant sensation, comfort, conveniences, but also it avoids its opposite. Right? You all know that you happen to have some work in some part of the city where the sanitation is not the best. How immediately you take up your handkerchief. If you pass to a place, garbage, there is too much of garbage in it. Not very, very pleasant for the olfactory nerves. Then you avert your eyes also. So it doesn't want, nothing happens. You can smell something not very nice, but you don't want. You try to avoid. And I don't have to tell you, so much so you avoid any unpleasant smell even in yourself. You would like to have deodorants and in your own bathroom like lavender. Why? So every sense wants to avoid that which is not a pleasant experience, and it likes to create very pleasant experiences. So this goes on morning till evening every day, but because it's become a way of life, we never notice it. How much every day, morning till evening, we are constantly trying to satisfy the mind by satisfying the sense. Why? Mind in the form of desire upon this plane, this level, manifests through the senses. And all the five senses. It is, what do you say, gregarious. Mind is wants to talk, it wants to express itself, it wants to talk. And therefore it doesn't like to be silent, it doesn't like to keep quiet. And also the ear likes to hear nice things about itself. The mind likes to hear nice things about itself through the ear. And it carefully avoids places where uncomplimentary remarks are likely to be made. Tends to gravitate towards those places where complimentary remarks are made. This gives us a cue. If you want to control the mind, you refuse to cater to this tendency, which is ever seeking to fulfill itself through the senses. And therefore, if you have studied either the 20 spiritual instructions of Gurudev or the sadhana tattva of Gurudev, he has built into it certain instructions which automatically fulfill the discipline of the control of the mind. He says, observe Mauna 2 hours daily. When there is an inclination to talk, don't talk. Keep silent. And inasmuch as the mind seeks satisfaction through the senses, he says, one day in a week, give up salt as well as sugar. Because if you say give up salt, it will compensate for it by taking a lot of sweet things. Give up salt and sugar. Don't take either salt or sugar. If you give up sugar, then you will indulge in the other type of taste. No. And after a little progress in this periodical disciplining of the mind through denial of the senses, then he says, one fortnight in a year or 1 month in a year, abstain from salt and sugar. And some weekend, observe 48 hours of silence. And there is a famous saying that through renunciation alone, ultimately peace is obtained, not in any wise else. And happiness is the outcome of true deep inner peace. And when there is deep inner peace, you have a happiness that does not come from any object. See, it is not dependent upon anything. See, it is a thing in itself. See, it does not depend upon any other thing. That happiness does not derive from anything. See, it is self-existent. It is peace, inner peace. Tyagat shanti ranantaram says. Through now, renunciation is an extreme step. And one would almost say, oh, it is ascetic. It will be all right for monastics. But what about normal people? What about normal, ordinary people? Yes, if you want to know what normal people can do, Buddha has given two instructions, two guidelines. You start, you need not go into renunciation. First step, moderation. Wherever the mind demands satisfaction, this desire, that desire, so many things. And see, many of these desires may not be in any way against any ethical norms or standards or morality, they may be perfectly all right, okay, accepted by society. Of course, now society also is gradually moving. At time, society has come to that pass when something was absolutely forbidden, absolutely not the thing. It was regarded something one should eschew, one should avoid. It's not proper. Now it becomes proper. The drinking of alcoholic drinks is not good for anyone at any time, under any circumstances. See, it is just not good. It's bad. And therefore, our great-grandfathers, they said, no, all right, wedding celebration, okay, you have some drinks. All right, Christmas, you have some drinks. New Year, you have some drinks. Okay, that's it. Otherwise, as an ordinary habit, it is dangerous, it is harmful, it is not civilized, it is not etiquette. But now, if you go visit someone and he doesn't offer you a drink, he is very uncivilized. He is failing to do the right thing, right gesture. Okay? And he has to offer also have a smoke and light it for you. That was all right. They were doing that 10 years back. But now, when statutory law demands that each packet should contain a legend, tobacco smoking may be hazardous to health. It may even, so the civil surgeon says it may cause lung cancer. Even with this legend, if when you visit someone, he offers you a smoke, what do you say? Have a lung cancer. Almost like saying, I mean, so how completely abnormal mind can become. That it doesn't at all consider I am giving to my best friend something which plainly it has been proved that it is dangerous, hazardous, it is not good for his health. You end up in hands of a doctor, but yet you give it and it is accepted. So how far topsy-turvy human behavior can become when that which is very wrong becomes the accepted thing. And anyhow, therefore, now the norms have changed to such an extent that which was condemned as something very wrong, a thing that is not done, it is the fashion, it is done. If it is not done, you say, you are no good, square. So, but then, many of these things about which we are discussing, they are amoral or non-moral. But then, if food is necessary for life, eating is a normal biological process, and to get the right things in a proper balanced proportion, the food has to have variety also. So it provides you with protein and carbohydrates, fats and the necessary amino acids and vitamins and minerals and trace elements and all that. And therefore we make a variety. Good food. Okay. But then, if good food is taken within moderation, it is very, very beneficial to the body. If the good food is taken beyond the necessary quantity, there is a line where its benefit ceases. Up to this line, up to this quantity, it is beneficial. Beyond that line, it ceases to benefit. It's just a waste. And you go further, sometimes the hosts are this, no, I made it one more helping line. What happens? Beyond that line there is another line, and beyond that line food becomes positively harmful. And an indispensable thing, a necessary thing, a beneficial thing, you turn it into a harmful thing. Why? Because of lack of control. So, Gurudev said, first of all, moderation. That was the great rule for all things that Gautama Buddha gave. Avoid extremes. Follow the golden mean. Do not go to either of the two extremes. Be moderate in all things. And if you are moderate in all things, even a harmful thing becomes to you less harmful. Even a harmful thing becomes a less harmful thing because you don't allow it to harm you beyond a certain stage because you restrict its intake, moderation. Then, if you practice moderation and gradually you succeed in denying the mind's demands, but not completely denying it, then already you are starting to get it under your management. You start managing the mind through moderation. And moderation can be very difficult. People can either leave off things completely or, what do they say? Go off on a bin. That is also not good. I mean, that is not discipline. That is not discipline. Moderation should be practiced in a continuous manner. It must become a way of life. You must adopt moderation as your motto in all your life and its movements. In eating, drinking, sleeping, any activity. No, I set a limit and I abide by that limit. Within that limit I function. Then this is the first step in the victory over the senses and the mind. Then, when you are well established in this discipline of moderation, it requires a great deal of willpower to say no. To say no. The physician advised, then he had gone to consult him about it need not be ready, it can be a gentleman also about reducing weight reducing. And of course, he grew up on diet. And it was a fashionable city, and the person, the patient, carefully read through the diet and said, okay. And are there any exercises also to go with it? Because they all want jogging or swimming or different types of maybe yoga. She said yes, simple exercise. And that was whenever a second helping is given. Shaking, neck shaking exercise. Then you succeed in your diet. Not this way. And so, if you are established in moderation, already you have covered a great deal of the ground, and then occasional abstinence. Treat yourself to spells of systematic, well-organized abstinence. And after that period, stick to the moderation. Let there not be a reaction. So, moderation, established in moderation, then graduate on to abstinence. And in abstinence, we have to bring out the cooperation of the mind itself. One of the methods of controlling the mind is to try to study and understand why it is that the mind is constantly inclined towards sense experience. One is, man is constituted that way. If you read the Kathopanishad, one of the most important Upanishads, if you read Kathopanishads, in the conversation, dialogue between the Lord of Righteousness who presides over death, the name should be carefully kept apart and not mixed up with the first step of Patanjali's yoga. They are both the same spelling and the same yama. Yama is the first step in the 8th stage yoga, and the Lord of Death who presides over death and righteousness is also Yama. Y-A-M-A. And so, there is a conversation between Yama and a young aspiring soul, very young, seemingly inexperienced, but as I say, wise head over a young shoulder. And it is a very thrilling episode in the entire range of Upanishadic literature. This is a very, very thrilling, inspiring episode. The conversation, dialogue between Nachiketas and Yama. There, Yama very clearly explains to Nachiketas that man is constituted in such a way that senses constantly move towards their respective sense objects. And in thus moving towards the respective sense object, they drag the mind out also. Sometimes it is the mind that goes the senses towards its sense object. Both are, one is bad enough, and both combine. And he said, why? He says, because in the nature of man, the constitution of the human nature, there is a considerable proportion of the second of the three qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas. And there is a preponderance of rajas, and it is the tendency of rajas firstly to be very restless, always not wanting to be quiet, always activity. Secondly, outgoing. Rajas is not the centrifugal. It is outgoing. It goes out, and so it drags the mind out also. And this preponderance of rajas is both in the physical level as well as in the mind. Mind also does not want to keep quiet. It's always outgoing by its very nature. This tendency is due to the preponderance of the quality of rajas in the mind, and therefore rajas in mind and senses constantly make it go out. This is therefore one of the causes of this problem created by the mind for the individual. Okay? The second is more upon a little higher level. Supposing you are looking for something to eat, and you are visiting your grandmother. She is always pampering you. She always keeps her whole cupboard, pantry stuffed with lots of good things. And so you tell her that Rani, I am hungry, I want something to eat. Go and look into this cupboard. Then you bring out a packet of your favorite, what have you, whether it's cookie or toffee or chocolate or whatever it is. And then you were glad at the discovery and you are all thrilled at the treat you are going to have. And then Rani says, look here, some of them have been lying there for ages. So you better look at the expiry date. Not good until what date, not to be taken up. Supposing the packet you are having in your hand is already 2 years past the expiry year. That itself will bring your desire for it 50%. Even though the stuff is the same, but if it says, oh, it ought to have been consumed in 1987. Now I am in 1990. Then you see, your attitude changes. See, what happens? Your attitude changes. Yes, you are so eager, you are anticipating a good treat, and just this intelligence of seeing some numbers printed upon it, the mind immediately is not so much interested. It now tries to find out if there is anything fresh. Okay? And even if its date has expired, say in June 90, you won't leave it. After a couple of months matter. But then it means, of course, Gurudev has given a very strong example to bring out this truth, which is an important thing. Supposing the change, what was the anatomy of this mind having keen desire and within a minute giving up its desire, now not more interested in it. It means it was first thinking that this is something which I want to enjoy. And suddenly the idea is given to it, maybe it's 2 years old, means it may cause some upset in me, therefore I better be cautious. So the mind now knows that which a minute before was thinking, there's much enjoyment in it, now it is thinking otherwise. It says, I may not enjoy it, I may suffer it. Yes. You know these little books called Knock, Knock, Knock? Like that, I saw some other series, somewhere I don't know where. Happiness is, and then a series of cartoons. Happiness is, and then one picture. Then happiness is another picture. People's concept of happiness. And there was happiness is, one of the cartoons was polishing off a whole box of chocolate by yourself. And that was the caption. Happiness is when you can have a whole box of chocolates by yourself, not having to share it. And then, but the cartoon was, the empty box is there. And the person is running to the toilet. So the day after, God knows what the number of the trip was. I don't know, it didn't say, but running, not walking. So that happiness can turn into, so when the mind changes its attitude or changes its view towards the thing, when it's thinking this is the acme of happiness, in the seventh heaven, it wants to rush towards it. When by some process you make it changes the whole idea about the thing, and its whole attitude changes. It's no longer wanting to rush towards it. And you can even bring about a state, when even if one wants to push your mind towards it, it will resist all attempts at being pushed towards a certain enjoyment, certain experience. Because it has totally changed its whole idea and opinion about that experience. And that it was a tremendous temptation and attracting it and no. And Master gave a different idea. He gave an example. He said, supposing your favorite dish, that which you just cannot resist, and you are visiting a friend, or friend is visiting, spend a weekend with you, and she is an expert in making this dish, and knowing your favorite, she says, tomorrow we will have this. You are in the sixth rung of the ladder to heaven. And then come tomorrow, it is prepared, and you are keenly, eagerly expecting the time when it will be 100% ready, and you will sit down to eat it. And she is putting it, and she will put it into a dish, put it before it, and tell me how it is. Supposing at that time, suddenly she gets a horrible idea, wait, my God. So she has put something to flavor it from some cupboard. By some mistake, some poisonous substance has gotten into that cupboard, and not properly seeing the label, you see, she has put it, and at the last moment, thank heavens, she has realized it. My God, you see, I put this into it. I thought it was certain thing with this. Now, will you go near it? Will you touch it? Now you know that it is not only your wonderful favorite dish prepared by an expert hand, but unfortunately it is a conveyor of some very deadly poison. That instant, your entire attitude will change, and no one can persuade you to even so far as touch it. And you won't care, immediately you put it into the garbage bin. Why? Because you have had a different knowledge about it, which has made you to change completely. And mind you that if it changes, you can change like that. Therefore, they have told us, mind you, the entire approach to mind control, as I already said in the morning, in the East, is that this mind is the main obstacle towards the attainment of illumination, enlightenment and liberation, which can take you completely beyond all sorrow, pain and suffering, and take you up into a state of absolute, total satisfaction, absolute perfection, unutterable joy, bliss and peace, wherein nothing more remains. There is no more any desire, there is no more any want, there is no wish. All your wishes are satisfied and all desires come to an end. There you are at the top of the world. Okay? So that is that supreme experience, absolute, of the great reality, when one is filled with a sense of total satisfaction, absolute eternal satisfaction, and one rejoices and rejoices. And in that state of bliss and peace and feeling of freedom, liberation, what object can ever tempt you? But then that goal is within your reach, it's your destiny. Your destiny, it's your birthright, the grand state of transcending all sorrow, pain and suffering, and ascending into a state of absolute joy, perennial joy, which fills your heart with total eternal satisfaction. And no more anything can enslave you. You are now free, you are liberated. No more can anything enslave you or cause you fear or anxiety in that state. Mind is the main obstacle. Mind will not allow you to aspire after it. It will hold you down, bound 100 little petty temporary satisfactions. So Atlanta wanted to win the race, so she had gold ball. And so when she found someone trying to overtake her, so the person ran after it by avarice, little petty things. The guru of Swami Vivekananda, the great, the wondrous sage of the temple of Dakshineshwar in Calcutta, Shri Ramakrishna, he said, we know you are all being duped and denied your birthright by the arch enchantress Maya, Mahamaya. My divine mother, she is playful. She likes to play a game. And she doesn't want anyone to put an end to the game too quickly. So he said once, little children, they play hide and seek, and someone has to catch someone else, then that person will have to catch all other people. But then, if you are running away from the person who is pursuing you to catch you, and you find now I am at the end of my tether, so there is a granny sitting in the center. If you go and touch the granny, then you are immune. You are free from the game. Then other people carry on the game. You cannot be touched. See? Already you have got diplomatic immunity. And so, but if one among the players, if there are 10 children are playing, and every time a game starts, within half a minute a child goes and touches the granny, and then wants to sit back and watch the others running about trying to escape the catcher. See? Then after a little while, the granny herself will become annoyed. Hey, what is it you are doing? Play the game. See? Not so quickly. See? At least a couple of minutes play the game and then come to me. No, sooner the game starts, immediately you come and touch me. So he said that the great mother does not like too quickly putting an end to the game. She likes to play, and therefore she allows people to run about, and then she doesn't allow people to go too quickly to the goal, and then that means that person is out of the game. She would like to have enough people going round and round in the game. And so she said, you know what she has done? She has done the same thing which the canny farmer does. He has had a good harvest. Now he stored away the grain. Of course, she was talking about rural India, where everything was simple and crude and rudimentary. See? They didn't have sophisticated silos and all that to store grains. Nowadays they have got so many. It was just rural area, store grain in some little shed in certain bins. But then you see, rural area means equally more rats. And so, no matter how much you try to safeguard these grains, they always manage to get it. And so he said, do you know what the farmers do? They store away the best grain, see, in some elevated place. And they know in this godown, soil place, where are all these little rat holes from where they emerge. See, where they emerge. And so, in little pans, they put some third-rate grains, plenty, cheap variety of grain, and keep it near to the hole. So when Mickey Mouse emerges, no, it's a bigger version, emerges, he thinks he's very, very lucky. No, I don't have to go here and there and try to make holes. So they fall to nibbling upon the readily available grain kept in so close proximity, and then when they are not interested in anything, they go back. And so every day, the canny farmer until he is able to get a good price and sell off the grain, he keeps it safe by putting a little of the grain near to this rat hole. That's exactly what Divine Mother Maya is doing. So, that is the great wealth, the wealth of Sachidananda consciousness, bliss, the perfect joy. And to beguile us and divert our attention away, she has kept all these little petty sense pleasures, pleasant little sensations. So, foolish man, we ought to know better. You can excuse a rat for behaving but foolish man also immediately becomes a pursuer after these little petty pleasures, alpa sukha. And therefore, forever, he never thinks about that supreme joy, that supreme state of blessedness, because he gets satisfied with these little petty little pleasures. So, we become pleasure seekers, pleasure hunters, hedonists, epicureans, sense satisfaction. We never think in terms of that supreme blessed state of unutterable, indescribable, Brahmic bliss. And if you can make the mind understand, look here, by running after these petty things, you are depriving yourself of something unutterable, indescribable, something unfathomable, incomparable. What is this you are doing? A little while, restrain yourself. Go into the path of yoga and discipline and spiritual sadhana. Soon it will pay such dividends that what you have denied yourself will seem as nothing compared to what you get, ultimately. So, if you can bring the mind to understand, create in it a strong feeling that all the pleasures of this world put together, but straw, nothing, insubstantial. If you can make the mind to accept this idea, understand this truth, understand this fact, then once the mind grasps this truth and changes its attitude towards the world and all the so-called pleasures the world has to offer, then you are at the top. Nothing can touch you afterwards. The mind itself will say, no, I don't want to opt for anything except the highest and the best and the first, number one. I don't opt for number two. So, try to make the mind understand. Give it a firm conviction. Everything in this world is a petty sensation of the short duration. It's not worthwhile. I'm making a fool of myself. I must know better. God has given me intelligence. I can be wise. And I should not be deceived and duped and made a little laughing stock. I should not be a fool. I should not be. So, if this attitude comes into the mind, then automatically mind becomes your friend. And in one sloka of the Gita, there are two ways of looking at it. As in every pleasure, there is also mixed a little bit of pain, a little bit of suffering. So why you court suffering? You run after pleasure thinking it will give you happiness, and suddenly in the middle of it you will find that it turns sour. So every pleasure, because this is a world made up of pairs of opposites. See, nothing is absolute. Everything comes a mixture. And therefore, you are very foolish, very childish, puerile to run after these pleasures. And afterwards, going in for a lot of the opposite also. That's number one. And the number two is to look at pleasure itself as pain. See? By going after this pleasure, I am depriving myself of a wonderful joy. So I am a loser. I am actually losing something wonderful to be tenfold, hundredfold joyous, highly satisfying. And I have been up till now laboring under the delusion that it is something pleasant. On the contrary, it is painful. It is unhappiness. It is a great deprivation. It is a great loss. Therefore, no more of this folly. See? So, Krishna gives us, these are processes of reasoning out, observing human experience, observing objects and their imperfect nature. They are finite, limited in time and space, mixture of pleasure and pain both together. Therefore, they are as much capable of giving pain as much as they are capable of giving pleasure. And therefore, there is no absolute happiness in this world. Therefore, why I should throw away a precious life given to me by God to attain something wondrous and great in dividing my attention, dividing my energies, losing my time in life, running after these things. It's not wise. And Lord Krishna, so this is a process of what is known as viveka. Okay? Discriminating between real happiness and petty sensation, pleasurable sensation. Discriminating. And this discriminating process should constantly go on. It should be constantly going. It should be a constant companion, day after day. Okay? And through discrimination, you begin to understand, in the ultimate analysis, there is no iota of real happiness in this world and all the sense objects there are in this world. There is no real happiness. It is absolutely a myth, a sort of imagination of the mind. There is no true happiness at all. And the moment the Viveki comes to this conclusion, the person reasons it out, okay, investigates, observes it mindfully, analyzes it, and then comes to this conclusion. Finished. Already he is liberated on this level. Or he looks at sense objects, he says, what do I see? I don't see them as sources of pleasure, I see them as sources of pain. So the famous statement in Indian yoga philosophy and Vedanta, Sarvam Dukkham Vivekinaha. Sarvam Dukkham Vivekinaha. To a Viveki, to a true person of right discrimination, everything is painful. Everything is painful. So nothing attracts the person. He has set his sights upon something really joyful, blissful, the quintessence of the highest happiness imaginable. Sukham Atyantikam, transcendental happiness. Set his sights there. He does not want to opt for anything. Sarvam Dukkham Viveka. Number 2, Lord Krishna. Very significant shloka. After all, what is the anatomy of experience, sense experience? There are the 5 senses. The human individual is attracted by its corresponding sense objects. And therefore, by contacting and obtaining the corresponding sense objects, each sense wants to derive a certain pleasurable experience. Sight and form, sound, speech. In the same way, every sense has its corresponding sense object. And when it tries to obtain and find satisfaction, it tries to contact the sense object by obtaining it and experiencing it. And Krishna has something very startling to say about this phenomenon. He says, any experience born out of such a contact between a sense and its corresponding sense object, it is a source of sorrow. See? And it is very, very clear. There is no ambiguity about it. There is nothing to leave any doubt. He is very clear, very categorical, very unambiguous language. He says, contact-born experiences are all the sources of sorrow. He does not even say pain. They are sources of sorrow. Ultimately, it will make you regret. Sources of. He says, Ehi samsparsaja bhogaha dukkha yone evate. O Arjuna, samsparsha. Samsparsha means coming into contact. And bhoga means enjoyment. Enjoyment born out of contact. Contact of what? A sense and its corresponding sense object. So, contact born enjoyment. Yehi samsparshaja, that which is created, that which comes into being through contact. Ja means is the root word for taking birth. So, contact born enjoyments, O Arjuna, are the sources of sorrow. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yone evate adyantavantak kaunteya nateshu ramate da. A wise person, O Arjuna, does not revel or take delight in these contact-born enjoyments because he clearly sees they are the sources of sorrow. Therefore, liberate yourself from this. You are only working for your ultimate sorrow if you make yourself a hunter or a pursuer of mere contact-born enjoyments, sense pleasures. And Krishna should know better because he is the one who brought the world into being. All these created objects were created by him, and he knows them in and out. And there are some good-hearted merchants, who are merchants, who are there to make a profit by keeping all manner of goods which people want. And if a close friend of theirs comes into the shop and he has come to make some purchases, and as he is picking up things, you know what shopping is. You go for picking up 2 or 3 things, and then picking up things, your eye falls in the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. By the time you know about 13 things already. And so while he was picking up the things for which he went, his eyes fell on something else. Let me have a couple of these. And then a particular thing he wanted to have. Shop assistant was about to give it to him. By the time the shop owner said, hey, not that. What do you want it for? No, I want got some visitors. Not that. Okay. I'll go and get it. So he goes inside and gets some real good quality stuff. See? That stuff is just for people, ordinary people. And because people want it, he has kept it there. But when he is interested in some person, he says, no, I'll go and get you something. So he goes inside and gets good quality stuff and gives it to him. He is now being not a merchant, not a salesman, he is being a friend. So, Lord Krishna lets the cat out of the bag. He tells Arjuna, look here, this is a play, that's the game, you see. But then I don't want you to go for this stuff. For you, some better stuff I got. So he is plain, frank about his own creation, his own universe, all the things he has got into being. Not this for you, Arjuna. Ye samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yone vate adyantam takkante nate ramate buddha. Wise man does not have any of this. So if thus, through reading, studying of the scriptures, through satsang, and through reflection, you know more than anything else. It is what you reflect and find out for yourself, the conclusions you come to about this world show, this carnival that Mother Maya has spread out around you. And then you know what is what. And then you come to your own conclusion. After that, being convinced that in these things there is no real there are purpose, then the whole mind changes. So work for this process of intelligent observation, gathering knowledge, becoming awake to things, becoming awake to facts. And once having become awake to facts, analyze all things, and then through a process of discrimination, come to this firm conclusion and conviction. Pleasures of senses are petty diversion. It's not worthwhile throwing away my life. This precious gift of God to attain the highest state of blessedness is not worth my faith. So it goes off, it drops off automatically. Once you are convinced that this is not the value you want a much higher, greater value, okay, then the giving away of this lesser value is nothing. It does not at all become a big asceticism or a discipline. It becomes a wise step to take. Automatically you begin to say, this is the way I want it, this is what I want. Okay? So there is no more any effort, there is no more any big giving up. On the contrary, you are throwing away something which is so much of, what do you call it? So much of lumber, so much of useless things, discard, worth only to be discarded. And so through a process convincing and consciously becoming aware through this process, you attain your freedom. Mind becomes controlled. Through moderation, through abstinence, through denial, ultimately leading to renunciation. And through a process of reasoning, observation, analysis, and discrimination, viveka, freeing your mind of the deluded notion that these things are desirable and they have got any value. When you begin to say these things are worthless, you are no more interested in it. This is the way the entire control of mind here was to clear your path to liberation, clear your path to fulfilling the purpose of human existence, that is, attaining of enlightenment and illumination. And as long as little things are capable of holding us down and tying us to a certain state and not others, then you are never going to progress towards that supreme state. Therefore, the riddance of this becomes a condition prerequisite for, and so their whole approach to this question of control of mind was based upon this ultimate understanding that life is meant for the attainment of God realization. Life is meant for attaining liberation. Life is meant for attaining a state of total perfection, divine perfection. And that goal being the overall, thing that attracts you, all other things have to give way to it. So it is not so much trying to control the mind in order to be able to read the minds of others or foretell things that are going to come or see things that are happening behind. It is not for telepathy or television or clairaudience or clairvoyance or miracles. It is not with this approach they wanted to have mind control, conquest of mind and then become a multimillionaire. No, it is, their entire approach was something transcendental. See, it is a unique approach which is not within the context of the other traditions. See. But it was the tradition of the Middle East. See. And the message of Jesus and the teachings of Jesus fully bears out this, even to an extreme measure. I do not quote now, even to an extreme measure, you voluntarily turn away for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. For the sake of the kingdom of heaven. We cannot worship God and Mammon both together simultaneously. You cannot go to the east and at the same time want also to go towards some destination in the west. It's either this or that. So he was very uncompromising. He made no bones about it. And when someone gives an excuse, he said, oh, leave it, leave it. Let the dead bury the dead. You take up and follow me. And once you start going out of this, this setup, you not turn back. You turn back. You turn into a pillar of salt. No looking back is longing. And so, the teaching of Jesus is not different from the teaching of the Vedantic seers. Now this is the ultimate objective of mind control, but immediate objectives we shall cover tomorrow, morning and afternoon. Is it only relevant in terms of that ultimate goal, or is there no immediate relevance or immediate dividends to be had from the conquest of mind, control of mind? Yes, very much so. About that we will go into it tomorrow. So the ground we have covered is because the mind, desire aspect of the mind seeks fulfillment through the senses. If we control the senses, it's one of the indirect ways of controlling the mind. And if you want to control the senses, extremes should be avoided. First of all, start with moderation, then graduate to abstinence, and then periodical abstinence, and afterwards you will be in a position to completely deny, and there will not be any reaction, unfavorable or undesirable reaction. And thirdly, try to make the mind change slightly. So why does the mind bound towards? Because it thinks it's got something to gain out of it. It's something to enjoy. Once it changes the mind, when it changes its whole opinion, then it no longer needs to be persuaded. It will itself not go there. Even if it wanted, it cannot go where it sees. Because it seeks always its happiness, its own enjoyment. When it sees enjoyment as painful, when it sees enjoyment as ultimately leading to sorrow, then it says no. In this way, through viveka, through vichara, through moderation, and all these things are to be gained through satsang, through study of scriptures that bring us these insights, and through our own observation and nature reflection. Because ultimately, who would want to be a slave? See, the position of a slave is not very pleasant prospect. And so here, in your personality, in this status of yours, see, are you going to be a occupier as a master, or occupying the body house, but and the beck and call of mind, its desires, its cravings and emotions and sentiments and being pushed and pulled and pummeled and helpless in the hands of your senses and your mind and your desires and craving and your moods. See, are you going to be a helpless, enslaved being at the mercy of these things? There are also co-tenants in this. So if you really want to make something out of your life, you must live in your own center as a master. Not to be at the mercy of mind and its various desires and cravings. Therefore, self-mastery is desire as an end in itself, even for not for anything else, nothing at all, to make your existence tolerable, honorable. See? If you want to respect yourself, you must be a master of yourself. You must be able to keep your mind under your thumb and not be, ridden over by the mind. That itself is enough. And I don't want to be a servant of mind here. I want to be the master. That one consultation is enough to make it worthwhile trying to know the ways and means of disciplining yourself and overcoming the mind, managing the senses, mastering, conquering the senses and mastering the mind. Hari Om. peace, peace into all.